Hey, hi guys. Hello everyone. So hi, this is Sai Kiran from LetsUpgrade. I think I am actually getting stuck somewhere. I don't know if at all you guys are able to see me properly. Yes or no? Saurabh sir, can you just come into the picture, Saurabh sir?
Hi, sir. I'm here.
Hi, how are you, sir? I think I'm
I'm good.
getting
I'm good,
stuck.
sir. I'm good.
Am I getting stuck in between?
Yes, a little,
Okay. No worries,
but your
sir.
voice is clear.
Okay, fine. So, hi guys, how are you all? So, this is Sai Kiran from Let's Upgrade, and I just welcome every one of you to this like exciting journey of starting up with a web development program. And so here we have Saurabh sir. Saurabh sir is a full-time developer who is actually working with lot of like amazing companies in his even in the past, and also he's joining Let's Update very soon in full-time roles also. So he's the guy who will be teaching you all. Web development in total. We have essential programs going on for 7 days. It's a 6 to 7 day program, including your exams. You just need to attend every day from 5 to 6:30, live or recorded. It's totally up to you. Just fill in the attendance form, which is there in the description. Rule number one. So every day, fill in the attendance form, and you guys will be eligible for some or other kind of swags which we will be giving away at the end of the whole program. Previously, we used to give Amazon Echo and Google Home Mini certain kind of. From this time, we want to even innovate in our swags category. So we are seeing that what kind of swags we will be providing to students. Okay, so here I just want to even welcome our second very important person in the whole program, that is Umang. So hey, hi Umang. I hope that you can hear me. Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hi,
Hi,
how are you?
sir. I'm great.
Okay, so hey guys, I mean, she's Umang, and she's the person who takes care of all the student coordination. Any kind of question you may be having at any point of time, you guys can actually reach out to Umang, and Umang will be asking those questions to Saurabh sir. Okay, so like Saurabh sir is an amazing trainer in himself, and he takes care of like the things like very. I mean, like students do appreciate him a lot, and students love his way of teaching. Each and every batch. Okay, so now I hope that you all guys are very much lucky in terms of this. So yep, so I hope that every one of you is excited enough to start this whole program. And we have one more important person here, and I mean our academics manager. Any kind of questions you may be having, you can ask him at any point of time. Our Subrat sir. So Subrat sir, hi sir, how are
Hi,
you?
I'm fine. Hi, how are you?
I'm totally fine, sir. So now, I mean, Saurabh sir, guys, I will be like handing over the whole thing to Saurabh sir, Subrat sir, and Umang. So these are the guys who will be taking you all guys ahead in the journey of web development. And apart from that, we are also having, so this whole program is a essential program which you guys require to be a master developer. Okay, if at all you dream of being a master developer, there is something known as Let's Upgrade's web development total program, which cost like near about 25,000 with EMI options and all. So you guys can go and check it out. And that the whole program is of 6 months long duration, which consists A to Z of the whole web development. And it's a total placement oriented program which we do for all the students. It's like 6 months live every days or every alternate days you meet lot of guest sessions. You have like various kind of what we say projects which are built in this whole program. So that's the whole like thing which is there in our bundle program of Let's Upgrade. So it costs 25,000 near about with EMI option of like 9 to 12 months, which is there with us. So you guys can, I mean, eventually register for it going forward, but start with the learning of essential. Essential learning is very much important. Complete your end-to-end essential, then we can figure it out going ahead. Yep. So all the best, guys. Thanks a lot for joining Let's Upgrade and taking it ahead. Thank you. So now share it with your friends as much as possible. So from my side, this much only. Now Umang, Saurabh sir, and Sodha sir, you can take it ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Yep.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, guys. So as mentioned by Sai Kiran sir, so just follow the guidelines whatever Saurav sir would be taking. Okay, so he's a 5-star trainer of Let's Upgrade. So everybody has liked his training and delivery. So I hope you would find this essentials very interesting, and it would become more interesting with Saurabh sir actually. And yes, Umang would be there to convey your doubts and whatever. So please basically act as a mediator between you and Saurabh sir. So if anything, Saurabh sir could not maybe overlook while explaining something. So Umang would take those doubts to sir, and Saurabh sir would be clearing out, right? Okay. So yeah, this is the right time, guys, to upskill yourself, to upgrade yourself. So that is how we have that is why we have brought up here this course of essentials, so which would create the building blocks of web development. So coming forward, as it has been mentioned, so you can go for the bundle programs, advanced programs, and all. So yeah, guys, so that's what I wanted to say here. And anything you wanted to mention to us, just give us your feedback. So through your feedback forms, and we would get it done, guys. So that's what. So I'll not take much time, any more time. So over to you, Saurav sir and Umang. I'll be in the
Thank you, sir.
backstage.
Okay, then should we start?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I hope everybody is good. And let's start our first day and a journey to become a great web developer. So over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so
All
much,
this,
Umang. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Okay, hello guys. I hope you people can hear me properly, and I hope everyone can see me too. And also, I hope you people can see my screen. So please give me a yes in chat if you can see me properly, hear my voice properly, and also see my screen, right? So I can be like confirmed and aware that we are all on the same page, right? Okay. So hello everyone, welcome to the JavaScript course. Okay, so this basic, the whole, like this is not the whole course. This is basically a part of the whole course. It's like the essentials program, right? Where I try to teach you or show you what exactly you people can actually achieve by web development. Or like a lot of people from you might be already knowing like what is web development or what do we do in there, right? So this whole course is about all that, and this essentials, the 7 day session or the 6 day session, I don't like actually remember that thing, but don't worry, we'll figure it out. So whatever the like how many days of session it is, I'll be trying to teach you the most basic, the most important parts of JavaScript in this, right? So by the end of this essential session, you'll be at least knowing a lot of JavaScript and how JavaScript used in like web development, what is the actual use of it, and what is the future of it, what should you do after learning JavaScript, or where should you go, like so the features, the uses, the good things that you see on website, we're all going to build everything, right? And I'll also tell you what are the things that I'm going to build in the advanced courses as well, right? So I hope you guys are ready to join in with me and learn JavaScript and also build a lot of great things in JavaScript, right? I hope everyone is ready. Okay, so just give me a chair if you're ready. Just show me some excitement, right? So if you're excited, then I'm excited too, right? Okay, then. So let's move forward. So to start, right? To start, we'll just talk about we'll start talking by what exactly is JavaScript, right? What exactly is JavaScript? So like you might have heard it in college. Maybe like a lot of people from you maybe are like a starters who don't know anything. A lot of people from you might be some kind of developers or workers who might be working for a company and know a little bit or a lot of JavaScript. A lot of people might from you might be from college, right? That may have like learned JavaScript a little bit, know how to use it, know how to start with it. So this essentials course is for everyone, right? So if you know, that's well and good. If you don't know, focus on everything. Try to take everything that I'm saying to you, that I'm teaching you, that I'm showing you, right? Okay. So to start, and one more thing, I'm just assuming that everyone from you knows a little bit of HTML and CSS. Not a lot, but at least a little bit of HTML and CSS. So HTML and CSS will be taught in the future courses, right? But for this course, this is completely for JavaScript. So I just hope that all of you are familiar with HTML and CSS and at least know how to use it. So even if you don't know, not a problem at all. Even if you know like a little, even if you have a little bit of programming background or something like that, that's totally fine. But a little HTML, CSS will definitely help. So if you don't know, I'll suggest you watch today's session, and after the session, just go on YouTube, just go on like any site and try to learn a little bit of HTML and CSS. It's very easy. For the basics, you'll just require 1 or 2 hours and you'll be ready for the course, right? So to learn the basic between HTML and CSS, you just like to learn the basics of HTML and CSS. You just require 1 or 2 hours. You learn it and you can come back tomorrow and you can start enjoying the course, right? So if you don't know, not a problem. You can just go after the session and watch a little bit of videos about HTML and CSS. It's very, very, very easy, right? And even I'll explain a lot of things from that. So don't worry about anything. And if you don't know, so that's fine. If you know, you're ready for it. If you don't know, not a problem. You can watch today and learn a little bit of HTML CSS afterwards, and then you will be ready tomorrow. Okay. Okay, I see Akash asking what is the difference between Java and JavaScript. Don't worry, buddy. I'm going to answer everything, right? So let's first start understanding what exactly is JavaScript, and I'll definitely move to what is the difference between Java and JavaScript. I have heard your doubt. I have read your doubt. Don't spam the chat, Akash. Okay, fine. So to start, what is JavaScript, right? So a lot of people from you might be heard of something like this. JavaScript is a client-side scripting language, right? A lot of people from you might have heard JavaScript is a client-side scripting language, right? So yes, it is. JavaScript is exactly a client-side scripting language. But there is something more to it. JavaScript is also known as a DOM manipulation language. So JavaScript is a client-side scripting language, and JavaScript is also known as a DOM manipulation language. But to understand all these statements, like, okay, JavaScript is a client side language, JavaScript is a DOM manipulation language, first we have to learn what exactly is client, what exactly is DOM, right? So before moving on to that, we'll take the first 15 minutes of this session and try to understand what exactly is web and how it works, right? Okay, should we start then, guys? Okay, so now let's try to understand what exactly is a website first, right? Let's not move to anything. Let's try to understand what exactly is a website. So when you talk about a website is nothing but a collection of web pages, right? Just remember this. Website is nothing but a collection of web pages, right? And now it like sorts down to what is a web page, right? So when you go on a Google, like when you go on Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or any kind of browser, like in your PC or in your phone, right? So when you type like www.google.com, a page loads, right? You can see something on your screen. That thing that you're seeing on the browser is known as a web page, like a YouTube, right? I hope right now you're watching YouTube. So something that you're seeing, the whole thing is nothing but a web page. You click on another video, you'll go to another web page. You click on another video, you go to another web page, right? So basically, the kind of like the things like this, the collection of web pages, like YouTube might be having thousands of web pages, Facebook might be having hundreds of web pages. So the collection of web pages is known as a website. So YouTube is a website, and currently what you're watching is a single page from it. Click on another video, you'll go to another page. Click on another video, you'll go to another page. So that's simple. That's it. Website is nothing but a collection of web pages. That's it, right? So that's all you have to understand. A single thing that you can see on your browser is nothing but a web page. Now, just let's try to understand very normally, very simply, how exactly a web page is made. Like we know what is web page right now, right? A web page is something that displays information on the browser. That's all. A web page is something that you load on the browser and that displays some kind of information. That information can be anything. That information can be a text, right? You can see your charts, that is text. Information can be images. You can see your icons in the chat. Those are images. If you go on Facebook, you can also see text and images on the web page, right? So basically, a web page is nothing but a medium of displaying information, right? A medium of displaying information in the form of text, or it can be image, or it can be a video, just like you're watching on YouTube right now. It can be a video, it can be uh, what do you call big text, small text, like different kind of text, right? So basically, images, text, videos, it might be audio sometimes if you go on Ghana.com or something like that, right? So all of these are nothing but information. So web page is something that displays all of this, right? So I hope you're understanding everyone, right? And don't worry, guys, hold your doubts. Don't worry, I'll explain everything. You just don't have to worry. I'll explain every bit of everything that I'm telling you right now. Okay. So let's like we are just going step by step, right? Remember this. We'll always go step by step, right? So right now we're understanding web page. Okay. So web page is just something that helps you to display information. and also it can take information from user. Like someone who is watching it can also fill in information, can also write information, right? You might have heard of it, like when you go on Facebook, you create an account, right? So when you create an account, you write your information in the boxes, in the text boxes. You write your information, you write your name, you write your age, you write your birth date, you write your username, your password. That basically means, in this case, you're providing information to the web page. You're giving your information to the web page. So a web page can also take information. Just like the web page can view information, it can also take information. So that's what a web page does. That's all. The primary work of the web page is to show information and also to take information at some places. Depends on the needs. So are we clear with the concept of web page and website? I hope now you understand what exactly is a web page, what it does, and what exactly is a website, right? A collection of web pages is a website. Is everyone cleared here? Is everyone cleared with the concept of web page? What exactly is a web page? Everyone just tell me, just give me a okay or yes, right? So I can understand that, okay, you're cleared now, so that I can move ahead. Please guys, whenever we complete a specific topic, when I explain you, just give me a yes or okay or like we have understood, so that I can move ahead, and I can, like, I always want to know that whether you have understood or not, right? If I'm telling everything and you're not understanding, then it's just a loss for me, right? So once I complete a topic, just give me a yes or okay, so that I can understand that you have understood that, right? So that I can move ahead. Okay, cool. Now we are not normal users in this case, right? For normal users, that was the explanation. For the normal users, that was the explanation. That was the whole explanation that a normal user needs. Like my mom or your dad, who is working for, like, not for any IT field, or he's, like, let's say, working for some banking thing, right? So for those kind of people, that information is enough. But now we are coders, right? So we should also know how a web page is made. It's not only about what is web page. We should also know how a web page is made, right? So now we are coders, we are going to learn that, right? So let's try to understand how a web page is made, right? So now remember this thing. A web page is made using some language. Like someone writes a code. Someone writes a code to create a web page, right? And to write a code, someone uses a language, right? So a web page is made in HTML language. HTML is the language responsible for creating web page that you can see on browsers. Remember this, HTML is the language responsible to create web pages that you can view on your browser. Remember this. The first language, the most important language to create a web page is HTML. Remember this thing, right? That's why I said that you should, like, we are not going to learn HTML here. I'll definitely show you a few things about it, but remember, we are not going to learn the whole HTML thing here. We are only here for the JavaScript part, right? But I suggested you that it's very simple, it's very easy. You can learn it after the session by like watching very simple video, right? But just to tell you, HTML is the language responsible for creating web pages, right? So let's note this down. Let's note this down, right? So what I'll do is I'll open a document, right, where I can write, and then I can collect everything, right? And then I can show you what exactly this all things are going to do, right? So let's start going step by step, one by one, understanding everything. So I'll just open a blank document for you, and I hope you can see my screen. Okay, so let's just name this document. Okay, let it load. I think my internet is a little slow. That's fine. Don't worry, I'll also explain what is cascading style. Don't worry at all. Okay, now let's do it. Let's name this document WD, right? WD basics. That stands for, okay, what is happening here? It's working a little slow, I feel. Okay, WD basics. Okay, cool. So web development basics, that's all. Now, this is the document that I'm going to use, where I'll write everything what I want to say, right? So I'll just increase the font size so that you can view it. Okay, I'll just make it 25. I think now it's okay. Can everyone see this now, guys? Can everyone see this? Can everyone see this? Can everyone see my font? Please confirm me so that I can start writing everything. Okay. Can everyone see this? Cool. And don't mind my spelling. Sometimes I make a lot of spelling mistake, but that's fine. That's fine, right? So I really know that I make a lot of, see, the first spelling mistake, right? So just ignore it, just ignore the spelling mistakes. Okay, now as I told, to create a web page, right, we have to write code. And when we start writing code for a web page, the first language, the primary language that we use is HTML, right? Now there is a full form to HTML, right? So I'll also tell you the full form if you don't know. The full form is hypertext markup language. This is the full form, right? Hypertext markup language. Again, see, I made a spelling mistake, but you can just ignore it. That's totally fine, right? Okay. So hypertext markup language is the primary language that is used to create web pages. So this language is basically going to help you create. So let's just talk about like the, what do you call, the importance of all the languages that we are going to use, right? So this language is basically responsible to, like, for creation of web pages. So this language is what it does: create web pages, right? This language creates web pages, right? So creates web pages and also and content in it. So whatever content you have in your web page, also that is created by HTML. So HTML is responsible for creation of web pages and also to put content in it, right? So I told you, right, the images, the audio, the video, the text, everything that you see is also created by HTML. So HTML creates the web page and also creates the content that is present inside the web page. Just remember this thing, right? I'll explain. I'll also show you. Don't worry. I'll also show you the demo. I'll also, someone is asking create a basic layout. Don't worry, Yogesh. I'll also create a basic layout. That's what, like, that's why like we are here for, right? So just let's just try to understand the basic first. So HTML is the language that is responsible for creation of web pages and to put content in it, right? Now, the second language that is very important in web pages is CSS. That basically, again, I'm going to make a spelling mistake. I'm not good with spellings. That stands for cascading style sheet. So this is another language that is used like in creation or formation of web page. Now what it does, now see, whenever you create what you call a web page and put content in it using the HTML language, the content doesn't look that good. It's just like it will just look like a paper where you have like wrote anything normally. It will not look that good, right? And there comes in CSS. CSS is a language which is used to style the content. So basically, this language is responsible for styling the content. Now, when I say styling the content, that basically means, let's say I have created an image. So for giving it height, for giving it width, or giving it background, right? All for all that thing, we need CSS. Let's say we have created something, some like a paragraph. Let's say we have created a paragraph in HTML. So to give it a font size, to give it a color, to give it a what you call spacing, alignment, everything will be done by CSS. So basically, you create content using HTML, but you give style using CSS. And when I say style, that basically means height, weight, size, alignment, management, movement of elements. Everything is done by CSS. So like you can see the YouTube, right? You have the video in the left side, you have the chats in the right side, then you have the comments down below, then you have the video, what do you call, the next video links just down below the charts. All that is an arrangement, all that is a styling, management of content, so that it is viewable and good looking, right? And that thing is done by CSS. And I'm also going to teach you some basics of it, but I'll also tell you to always go and watch some videos for CSS, right? Is it understandable, guys? Are we understanding what HTML will do in a formation of web page and what CSS will do now? Are we understanding this concept at least, everyone? Are we understanding? So whatever content is created by HTML, CSS is responsible for styling it, right? I hope everyone is understanding it, and I hope it's not that tough to understand, right? Before moving on to the actual JavaScript, we're just talking about the web development basics. That's all, right? Okay. Now, let's move ahead and talk about the third and the language that we are most interested in here. What you call is JS, or the full form that is JavaScript. So this is the language that we're going to learn in the whole session, in the like what you call collection of sessions that we are going to do, right? This is the main language that we're going to learn. Now what it does, what this language does, right? And that is like very big. What this language does is like a very big thing. So I can't explain you in one line, but don't worry. Let's try to understand this in one line first, and then we'll move ahead and learn everything what JavaScript does. So JavaScript is basically, now let's try to understand first like a normal user, then also we'll understand like a coder, right? So JavaScript is a language that is basically used to manipulate, okay, again a spelling mistake, manipulate the content that is created by HTML dynamically. So this is like a very normal statement, right? But it has a big thing hiding behind it that we're going to learn in the whole 7 or 6 sessions, right? So JavaScript is a language that is used to manipulate the content. And why only content? Content and styles dynamically. So JavaScript can manipulate the content created by HTML and also the style that is created by CSS dynamically. So JavaScript is a language that you can use to actually manipulate HTML and CSS, or you can say the content and the styling, right? Are we cleared? And yes, this essentials course is completely free. So I think someone is asking, is this course free? Yes, the whole essentials course is free. It will be on YouTube every day. You can just come and watch it. Okay, are we cleared with this, guys? So now just to basic understand, this is how you have to understand like all the languages. So these are the 3 very important languages that basically are responsible for creation of a web page, right?
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, yes.
Major, there's a doubt coming up. What is the basic difference between a web application and a website? Because someone is asking what is the basic difference between them, and also what is the difference between React and Vue? As they are wanting to ask, what is the basic difference between a framework and a library?
Okay, fine. So see, this answer might be not for everyone because a lot of people I know from you might be just starting to learn everything. So not a problem. But whoever is asking this, first, I'll just explain. There is actually no difference between web application and what you call a website, right? Both are like, sometimes we also call websites a web application, right? So in general, website and web application are same. But now if you like just go to like if you just want to go deep and understand what are web applications, you might have heard something like this, right? When you go on Chrome, you can also go in extensions, right? You can add extensions. So those extensions that you're adding, right, they can be called as a web application because those are nothing but apps, right? Extra apps that you can use in Google Chrome, right? But those are nothing but extension. So basically, you can also call them apps, right? That you can install in your Chrome and use it, right? But generally, you just have to understand that a web application and a website are having the same meaning. Something that runs on web can be called as a website or can be called as a web application. So the YouTube that you're seeing here is nothing but a web application and also a website because you access it using some address, right? You go on and write youtube.com, then YouTube page loads, right? So there is actually generally there is no difference between web application and website. I can also say that Facebook is a web app. I can also say that Facebook is a website. That's totally fine. Both are almost same. But sometimes people also refer web, what do you call, web application as applications that you can internally install in web, right? Just like extensions in Google Chrome, right? But normally just have to understand web application and website are completely same. There's no difference, right?
And also, sir, they're asking that what is the difference between a framework and a library? As Vue is a framework and React is a library.
Okay, cool.
So,
See now, uh, a framework, right? Just have to understand a framework is something, first of all, like, okay, let's try to understand this, right? Okay. Now, when I say library, right, let's go from like the smallest one. Library is small. Library is smaller than framework. Let's go from library. Library is nothing but some collection of files in which there are already written functions, right? And you can then include those files in any of your project, right? You can then include those files in any of your project, and then use the already built functions for you, right? So React is a library, right? React is a library that basically means you can just include React in any of your project and start using the React functions, right? So library is nothing but a collection of files in which a single file is maybe holding a lot of functions that you can use. So library is just like a small package that you can download and include in your project, and then you can start using the functionalities that are pre-built for you, just like jQuery. JQuery is also a library. You can just download it, link it with your project, and start using the built-in functions that someone has actually created. So whoever has created the library is the responsible person who has created the functions in that, right? So library can be a single file, can also be a collection of files in which you have nothing but a lot of pre-made functions, right? Which you can use in your project, include and use in your project. On the other side, a framework is nothing but a whole project, right? A framework is basically a collection of files and folders. It's basically a whole setup of the project, right? So when I say like, okay, I want to create a project, right? So you think of, okay, fine, I need to create this folders, I need to create this links, I need to create what do you call these separate dot files, right? So when you start creating a project, you have a bigger structure. You have a lot of folders, you have a lot of files, you have a lot of dot files which you have mentioned configurations. So that whole thing is a project, right? You create a project, right? So if someone has created what you call a startup project for you, right? So let's say when I create a project, okay, I need to create 3 folders, or like let's say it's my personal preference. Whenever I start with a project, I always go on and create a main folder. Inside that I create 3 folders, and inside that I create 2 dot files. So let's say I have created this, and now I have stored it somewhere, and whenever I have to start a project, I don't start creating folders. I can use the setup that I have created every time. So that setup is a framework. The starter project, right? The starter project is nothing but a framework. And also a framework may include a library too, just like Angular and Vue. These are frameworks, these are not libraries, right? So that is what it is. So a library is a collection of files in which you might have functions. A framework is a starter project, includes all the things that is needed to start a new project, right? So that is what a framework is. So I
Okay,
hope you
sir.
understood the difference.
Al Hassan Ture was asking that if CSS can do manipulations and all, so what is the need of JS in the
CSS
website?
is not doing manipulation, buddy. CSS is styling the content. CSS is styling the content statically, right? JavaScript can be used to manipulate the styling. You'll understand it once we go ahead. So this doubt, you can just keep with it, just hold it. When we start doing JavaScript, you'll understand what I was talking about. What is the exact difference? So don't worry, that is something that we are here to see. What is the difference between CSS and JS? So not a problem, right? Okay, let's move ahead now. Do we have anything, Umang? Do we have any more doubts?
No, sir, no, sir. We can move
Okay,
ahead for
cool.
the time being. Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
now. So let's move ahead now. Okay, so now I hope you have understood the basic differences between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now let's move ahead, right? Now, as I told you, that JavaScript is also known as a client-side scripting language, right? It is also known as a client-side scripting language. See, again, a spelling mistake. So you can just start ignoring it now. So JavaScript is also known as a client-side scripting language. And as I told you, that it can also be called as a DOM manipulation language, right? Now, the task here is to see what is exactly the similarities between all these things. Why I'm like giving them so much names. Like this is the use of JavaScript, and we can also call JavaScript as client-side scripting language. We can also call JavaScript as a DOM manipulation language. Let's try to understand all of it now. Let's go one by one and try to understand everything. Now, first of all, just to understand why JavaScript is exactly called as a client-side scripting language. Now, before moving on to that, let's first understand what is a scripting language. Let's understand it part by part, right? Don't worry, everyone who is asking for DOM. I'm going to explain you what is DOM. Don't worry, everyone. Don't worry at all. Let's go step by step, right? So first, what is a scripting language? It's very simple. You have heard of programming language, right? A programming language is something where you write instructions and then a computer can execute it, right? And show you some output, right? A programming language is something is where you can write instructions in a particular language and computer executes it and gives you some form of output. Scripting language is exactly same as a programming language. Scripting language is exactly same as a programming language. It has almost all the features programming language has. The main difference between programming language and scripting language is we call a language programming language when that language is compiled, right? I hope you know the meaning, like the meaning of compilation, right? You write, yeah, like just to tell the people who don't know what is compilation, just to understand. See, when you write a program, right? When you write, like, let's say you're writing C or C++, right? So when you write a program, you write it in a C language that is understandable by us humans. That is understandable by humans. Anyone can read and understand it, right? But computers cannot understand it because the language for computer is binary. So what a compiler does is converts that human readable language to binary language or to machine language, so that the machine can understand the code and also run it and give you the output. Just understand this. That is all, right? So compiler is something that converts a human readable language to machine language, so that the machine can also read and understand it and produce you the proper output, right? But you cannot understand the machine language. That's why we write it in a normal language in which we can understand, like C or C++. So that's what a compiler does. Okay, so a lot of people might be assuming a compiler is something that gives errors. That's not the main use of the compiler, right? The main use of the compiler is to convert the human readable language to machine language, right? And if the compiler doesn't understand some things that you have wrote, then only it gives you errors. So, like, but that is not the primary purpose of the compiler. Just have to understand this, right? Okay, now let's move ahead. Okay, so scripting language is as same as the programming language. The only difference is you call a language a programming language when it is compiled, and you call a language a scripting language when it is interpreted. Remember this. So now there are two ways in which a human readable language is converted to machine language. Either you can compile it or you can interpret it. So when a language is using a compiler, in that case, that can, like, when a language is compiled, that is a programming language. When a language is basically interpreted, then that is scripting language. Remember, compiler and interpreter are doing same things. They are converting human readable language to machine language, right? So the languages which are compiled, programming languages, the languages which are interpreted, scripting languages. Remember this thing. Okay, just remember this thing. So JavaScript is a client-side scripting language. Now we understand why it is called scripting language. Remember, everything is same. It is like a programming language. It has all the features of programming, like if you have heard of variables, loops, conditional statements, everything that you write in C or C++, we have in JavaScript. So it's exactly same as a programming language, but it is known as a scripting language because it is interpreted. And compilation and interpretation are same. The only difference is, now you just have, like, you also have to understand, right, what is the difference. Then, like, if compilation and interpretation are doing same things, then why there are two things, right? Compilation means when you convert a whole block of code at once. When you convert a whole block of code at once. And interpretation means when you convert code line by line. Okay, one line you have wrote, press enter, that will be interpreted. Again, one line, press enter, that. So interpretation is done line by line. Compilation is done once you have completed the code. The whole code will be converted at once. So when your language is getting converted line by line, that is interpretation. When your language gets converted once you've wrote the whole code, that is compilation. That's it. So generally there is no difference. It's almost the same, right? It's almost the same, programming and scripting. So JavaScript is scripting because it is interpreted. Okay, have you understood this, guys? Have you understood? Everyone, are we understanding the concept? Okay, now we have to move ahead and understand why it is called as a client side language. Why it is called as a client side language. Are we cleared, everyone? Okay, now see, whenever you create a website or whenever you create a web page, just I told you, like, we use a lot of languages. We use HTML language to create a web page, right? We also use CSS language. We also use JavaScript language, right? Now we also use PHP language. We also use Java language, right? So, like, these are also some languages that we use, right, when you want to create a proper web page. These are also some languages other than HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that we use, PHP and Java, or maybe C# also. So these are also some other languages that we use in web pages, and you'll understand why we use PHP, Java, C# in future. If you know, totally fine. If you don't know, don't worry. We're going to learn everything in when we are in the advanced course, and when we maybe are in the, like, future of this course. Okay, so don't worry. But just for now, just understand that these are some languages These are not all. These are some languages that we use to create a web page. Now, when you create a web page, or when you create a multiple web pages, like let's say your website is having 10 pages. So when you create a 10 pages website, okay, so let's say you might be having a lot of HTML files, a lot of CSS files, a lot of JavaScript files, a lot of PHP files, a lot of Java files, or a lot of C# files. Okay, so a lot of files of these programming languages in which you have written your code. Now, when I start creating a website, I do it in my computer. I do it in my PC, the one I'm having right now. Okay, so I do it in mine and I check it in my browser offline. I do everything offline. I check everything offline. So now I have completed my website. Now the thing is, I used HTML, CSS, JS, PHP, and I completed my whole website in my computer. Okay, and I can see it. Now, let's say I want to show my website to someone. What are the ways I can do? Either I can take my computer to that person and I can show, okay, fine, see, this is my website. I can take my computer to some other person. I can also show it, okay, fine, see it, my website. Okay. Now there is one more way of doing it. I can either email my whole code to a person. Okay, I can either share my whole files, whole programming files to a person and tell them, okay, fine, you can run it and see my website. That is also a thing, right? Now, but these are not the solutions. If I want to show my website to the whole world, I cannot go place by place and show it to everyone. I cannot mail it to everyone, right? So now I have to find a better and the best way of doing it. Okay. Then I go on and buy a computer space online. I go on and buy a computer space online. That is also known as a hosting space. You can say, or you can also say a server. I buy a server space. So a computer space or a server space or a hosting space. These are three names by you can like tell them. So there are a lot of providers in the world, like who have big computers known as servers. Now remember, you might have heard of servers. Remember this thing: server is also a computer. Just like I have my PC, server is also PC. The only thing is, server is a big computer. It can hold a lot of data, it can transfer a lot of data, and that thing is connected to the whole world. A server is connected to the whole world, right? So now, but my PC is not connected to the whole world. No one can access it directly, right? I can put something out, but no one can access it. But the server is something that is made to do this, right? That is the computer. That is a big computer that is made for doing these things so that everyone can access it and see whatever is inside that. So what I do, I go on, like, so now I go to a provider like GoDaddy or HostGator and I tell them, okay, fine, I want to buy a 30 GB space on your big computer or on your server. So they give me that space with all the configurations to run a website. All the like exact same configuration that I have in my PC, maybe better configurations that I have in my PC for running websites. So I buy that 30 GB space, and now what I do, I just transfer all of my files to that space, right? So now now my website is not on my local computer, not with me. It's on the server, and everyone in the world is connected to it, right? So even I am connected to it, right? So I can go on and access it and see it in my computer. So now a person sitting in Australia can also see. So now just to explain you, what I'll do is I'll open a Jamboard, right? I'll open a Jamboard just to explain you. Like if you're unable to imagine everything, what I'll do is I'll just open a Jamboard and I'll draw something, right? So you can imagine, right? You can also see what I'm trying to say here. Okay. So let it open. Okay. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just clear this frame. I hope you can see my page, right? Now what I'll do is, let's say this is a big computer, right? This is a big computer and this is my computer, a small one that I have, right? And now what I do is I buy this much space. This much space is mine now. This much space I buy from that big computer. Let's say GoDaddy is someone from which from where I have bought this much space. Now whatever files I have created in here, I'll put it inside this space. I'll put it inside this space. Okay, so maybe what you can say is all my HTML files, CSS files, right? JS files, PHP files, all are now here on this space. Okay, I hope you're understanding this. Okay, and now let's say a lot of people might be in the world will be having a same PC as me, right? In Australia, in America, in South Africa, everyone, a lot of people. Now I have put my website on the server, and now everyone is basically connected to the server. So now everyone can actually access that space by some security or by some way, like by writing some address in the Chrome browser or Mozilla browser. Everyone can now access it and see it, right? So that is how it works. That is how it works. This is known as deployment. This is known as hosting your website, right? When someone says, "Now I want to host my website," that basically means they want to put their website, all the coding files from their computer onto a bigger computer that is known as a server, right? So that process is known as hosting, or you can say deployment, or you can say launching. There are a lot of names for it, right? Depends on who is talking. Normal users say launching, right? The person who only does hosting will say, okay, I'm doing hosting. Coders say deployment, right? So anyone, like, it depends on people to people, but all means same. And there is a way of accessing website, but that is some other thing, so don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about it. Okay, there are a lot of ways, but let's say now they can access website. Now exactly what is the meaning of accessing a website? What is exactly the meaning of accessing a website? Let's say now this PC is trying to access this website. What this PC will do to access this website? Let's say a person can access this space, a person can access a website present in this space by writing www.saurabh.com, right? Let's just say I have done something, I have done some what do you call, domain registration or something like that. Okay, and a person can go in your browser, go in the browser and write www.saurabh.com and can access the whole website in that computer. What exactly happens? So if a person comes in the browser and write www.saurabh.com, what will happen? A request will be sent to the server, right? What will be sent? A request. Just try to understand this, because this is the only explanation that I'm going to give you. After that, everything will be coding, right? Just try to understand. So basically, a person is sending a request that I want to access whatever is there for www.saurabh.com. And now the server will verify, okay, do I have a website for www.saurabh.com? Do I have a website in this space? Okay, if it found, okay, I have everything in this space. Now the server will send back all the files to the client. And when the server sends it, it is known as response. Now this is very basic explanation. It is much more bigger than this. The architecture is much more bigger and complex than this, but this is the simplest way of understanding it, right? So whenever you are asking for something, that is request. Okay, I want to see this, I want to, please show me this. And then the server, if the server finds anything for you, it will send you as a response. So basically, when the server finds that what are you trying to access, it will send all the HTML, CSS and JS files to you. That's how it works. So basically, not only the website is shown to you, all the files are sent to you. All the files are sent to you and you can access it. But the files that are sent to you don't belong to you. That's why they are there temporary. Once you close the browser, everything is gone. So remember this. All the coding files are sent to you, but for temporary time, not for every time, right? Once you close the browser, everything is gone. But at least you can see the website now. You can see the output. So basically, when I'm seeing the output, when I'm seeing the website, that basically means I'm seeing an output of some code. Okay. So have everyone understand the architecture now? Has everyone understood the architecture, everyone? Has everyone understanding the architecture? Or do we have any doubt in this case? Is everyone understanding the architecture, guys? And this thing, see, these space between client and the server, right? These PCs are known as client. Remember this. These PCs which I'm using or which a normal person uses are also known as client. So this is client, this is server. And this working between client and server is nothing but the network. What is
Sir,
network? Okay, yes, tell me, Umang.
Sir, Sujit Kumar was asking that Python is an interpreted language. So, but it
Right,
is
yes.
not a particularly scripting language, as it supports Django also, which is a backend language.
Django is a
So,
framework.
yeah, backend framework. So,
Exactly.
his doubt is Python is interpreted, but is not a particular scripting language. Why? As it supports Django framework.
No, like first of all, see, Python can also be considered a scripting language, and secondly, Django is not a language. So you cannot say Django is something that is restricting Python to become a scripting language. It's actually unrelated. Remember, Django is something, it's like a library or a framework made in Python. So that's actually completely different thing. You cannot compare, like you cannot take in Django in between and say, okay, Python is not a scripting language. Django is actually in this case unrelated. Just like JavaScript is a scripting language, right? But it is just like Python has Django, JavaScript has Angular, Vue, and React, right? So actually it's unrelated. What was the name of the person asking this?
Sir, it was Sujit Kumar.
Yeah, Sujit. So I hope you're understanding this. See, Django is a framework made in Python. So that is completely unrelated, right? For like, oh, why Python is scripting language or not, right? But Python can be called as a scripting language because it is also interpreted, right? There are a lot of languages which are also known as scripting languages as well as programming languages because they support both. They support compilation as well as interpretation. There are a lot of languages who support both. Remember these things. Okay,
Sir,
everyone,
the
please
tech
just remember this thing.
topics wanted to know about Bootstrap, as if about
We'll talk
Bootstrap.
about that. We'll definitely talk about that. Don't worry. Don't worry. Right now, it's just not the time to talk about Bootstrap. But just to let you know, Bootstrap is a CSS framework. Okay, but I'm not going to explain that thing right now because a lot of people from here are starters. So I just want to go step by step, right? So don't worry, buddy. I'll be talking about Bootstrap in maybe next or next to next sections when we are ready to talk about it. When we are there to talk about it. Okay. But just to let you know, I'll not let you go directly. CSS is nothing but a Bootstrap is nothing but a CSS framework. That's all. You can also say it's a CSS library in which there is a lot of pre-made CSS for you to use. That's all.
Okay, thank you,
Okay,
sir.
cool. Okay, guys, I hope you have understood this. Now let's move on to the actual point. Why we like learned like all of this. Let's try to understand that now. So these PCs are client and this thing is server. And when you request for something, server gives you the coding files and you can see the output in that, right? So basically it gives you the HTML, CSS, and JS files and also the PHP files. Now, see, these programming files, remember, right? Computer is someone who executes this file, right? Computer is someone, or computer is the thing that is actually going to execute this HTML, CSS, and JS and PHP for you, right? So now what happens is, let's say in the website there are few functionalities that are getting performed using JS, and there are few functionalities that are getting performed using PHP, right? Just understand this. There are few functionalities that JS is performing. There are few functionalities that PHP is performing. Now, whatever functionalities JS is performing is going to use your computer CPU. JS uses the client computer's CPU, the client computer's memory to perform the task. In the same case, PHP does not use the client computer's memory. If there is a task that is run by PHP, it will always use the server's memory and the server's CPU. But JS always uses the client's PC or the client's memory, right? That's why JS is known as a client-side scripting language. See, it is stored on the server. JS files are stored on the server. But once you load the website, JS comes in your PC and then it executes in your PC. It takes memory, it takes RAM, it takes CPU from your PC and runs it. That's why JS is known as the client-side scripting language. And now I hope you understood what is the actual, where is the document? Yeah, this one. And now I hope you understood why JS is called as a client-side scripting language. And PHP, on the other hand, always will go to the server memory and use the server CPU and memory. That's why PHP is known as a server-side scripting language. Okay, I hope you have understood this, guys. I hope now you know why JavaScript is known as a client-side scripting language, right, everyone? But nowadays, JavaScript has also become server side scripting language after 2009, Before 2009, it was only a client-side scripting language. After 2009, JS also became server-side. So now it is also a client-side language and also a server-side language. But remember, in this course, in the essential course, in the YouTube course, we're going to only learn JS as a client-side scripting language. But in the advanced, when we are on the future of this course, in that case, I'll also teach you how JavaScript is server-side and how to use server-side JavaScript. But I just wanted to let you know that JavaScript is also a server-side language now after 2009. Before 2009, it was only client-side. Okay. So we are in the essentials course, we're only going to learn JavaScript as client-side, what it does as a client-side. Durga is asking which is better for server-side language, Node.js or PHP. I think both. It against, like, see, nowadays Node.js, as like it is JS, it has a lot of improved performances, right? So that's why a lot of people are going for Node.js. But if you ask about comparison, I will say both are really good. PHP is also easy. Node.js, as it is like it is a JavaScript, it's also easy. But like, let's say a lot of people who are like, but you can understand, right? PHP came way back before Node.js, right? That's why a lot of websites in the world, a lot of, like, maybe around 60 to 70% of the websites are using PHP as their server-side language. On the same hat, Node.js is just like booming from last 5 years. So now a lot of people are converting. But again, it depends on the use. It depends on the needs of the developer, what the developer is going to use, either Node.js. So when nowadays, actually, whenever someone wants to go for web services and everything, they go for Node.js. But if they are creating an integrated uh, what do you call, server side and client side pages, they normally go for PHP. Where server side and client side are mixed together, they generally go for PHP. But where server side language is basically working as a service, it's somewhere else, and front end is somewhere else, in that case we go for Node.js. But what Node.js is doing is also provided by a PHP framework called Laravel, if you've ever heard of it. Just like Node.js is also get used to create web services, Laravel, the PHP framework, is also used to create web services. And Laravel is actually a, what do you call, one of the best frameworks for writing web services, right? So there is actually no comparison. It depends on the needs, it depends on the developers, it depends on the preference. I cannot say what is good or what is bad. I use both, right? Okay, are we cleared?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, so I hope now you guys have understood the client-side scripting language. Now, let's move ahead and also try to understand what exactly is the meaning of why JavaScript is also known as DOM manipulation language, right? So now I'm going to cut the document, okay, because now we don't need it. Okay, let's move ahead now. And now, first thing, I'm going to introduce you what you call with the app in which I'm going to write my code, the code editor that I'm going to use. Maybe, see, now remember this, a lot of people from you might be already using a lot of code editors, right? Some of you may even not know what is a code editor. Now remember, a lot of people maybe from you might be using Notepad or Notepad plus plus for writing code. So just see, code editor, why we don't use Notepad for writing code? Because it's just a text editor. Everything is text for Notepad. You go and write anything, it's just text, right? It is not helping you to write code. You're just going to write a black and white sheet. You're just writing it like a text. That's why we're not going to use Notepad for writing code. So if you're in if you're in a college or in your any kind of academy, you're using Notepad, I'll just suggest you to stop using it, right? There are a lot of code editors available in the world which you can use to start writing code. Now, what is the advantage of a code editor, right? Let's try to understand that. Code editor, first of all, code editors have theme. So the theme helps you to understand the code better. Now you will see this when I start writing the code, but just try to understand it now. Node.js is sorry, Notepad is always black and white. You cannot understand what is HTML. You can't understand it easily. The difference between languages or the difference between what you call different lines, because everything is black and white in Notepad. But when you're working with code editors, they have a proper theme for each and every language. For separate languages, they have different themes. You can bifurcate between languages. You can understand languages easily. Code editors also have IntelliSense. That basically means if you're writing something, they understand what you're going to write and they give you hints. Okay, do you want to write this? If you say yes, if you like put enter, then they will complete the line for you, right? So just like, see, if you're in Notepad and if you're, let's say you're using Java, if you want to write system.out.println, you have to write complete system.out.println. But let's say if you're using a code editor, right, and if you just say s, then the code editor will give you hint. Do you want to write system.out.println? If you say yes, it will print for you. You don't have to write the whole thing. So code editor helps you in writing code, right? Maybe it saves you a lot of time. So it gives you understandability, it gives you good looking code, it helps you to write good code, it gives you intelligence so that you can code faster, right? And plus a lot of features, right? And yes, so now there are a lot of code editors in the market. You have VS Code, you have Brackets, you have Sublime Text, you have Atom, you have Eclipse, a lot of them. Now again, I'll leave it on you. It's your personal preference. Use anything you want. I'll not force you to use anything. Use anything you want. But people using Notepad and Notepad++, I'll suggest you to leave that and come to any code editor like VS Code or Sublime Text or something like that. But people already using code editors, use it like any code editor you want. I'll not force you to come to the code editor that I use. But people using Notepad, please stop using Notepad. Okay? That is not going to help you in any way. Even I started with Notepad, but I don't want you people to use Notepad. So this is the code editor that I'm going to use. This is my personal favorite, but it may not be favorite of yours. You might be using something else. It's totally fine. You can use anything you want. Don't use Notepad. But so this is the code editor that I'm going to use. Visual Studio Code, or also known as VS Code. Okay. First, I'll show you how to download it if you don't know. So you can, okay, I'll just get a browser window for you. Do I have a browser? Yes, I have it. Okay. Now you can just go on internet and search for VS Code download. Okay. This is one of the best editors in the world. Okay. A lot of people are using it. So you can just go on, then you can just go on this link. See, download Visual Studio Code. Just go on this link. And then depending on your operating system, if it is Windows or Linux or Mac, just download it. Okay. Just download, and then I hope you know how to install software, right? Just double click, agree everything, and it will be installed in 2 minutes. So that's how you're going to do, right? Once you've installed it, right? Like for Linux, I always download the deb, right? Because my operating system in this case is Ubuntu. If it is, if you are using Linux, you can use whatever operating system you want. Download it, double click on it. Just like you install any software, install this. And once you install it, it will be basically available to you. Then you can just search it and open this. And first time when you open this, it will look something like this. I'll zoom it for you. It will look something like this. Okay. A starter page like welcome and everything. Just ignore it. You can just go on and close it. Okay. This is how it looks at start. Now you're also going to learn how to use this editor step by step in the lectures. So don't worry about it. If you don't understand it at first, don't worry. It's just, you can say it's an advanced version of Notepad. Very, very advanced version of Notepad. Right? Now, how to start coding in this, right? So let's see. The first thing I'm going to do is, see, I have created a folder on the desktop that is known as JS, right? Okay, actually what I'll do is I'll create one more folder named JS Essentials. Okay, so now I have a new folder like I just showed you. So I have created a new folder. Now I hope everyone knows how to create folder in your respective operating systems. So just create it. And this is the folder when I'm going to store all the files, all the code files that I'm going to write in the whole course, in the whole session, right? Okay. So what I do is personally, I just go on the VS Code, I say file, open a folder, right? And then you can just go on your whatever like location your folder is on, select the folder and press OK. So basically, that folder will open in your VS Code. See, this is the folder that is opened here. Okay, this is the folder. And now you can say that basically this is the shortcut for that folder. Now I don't have to go back to the folder and see what is in there. This is exactly the folder, right? This is a shortcut. This is a shortcut for accessing that folder. So you can say the folder is actually present in the VS Code. Whatever you do in this folder from VS Code will be also there, because it is the same folder here, right? It's just a short way of accessing it, so that you don't have to go back and see what you have created in that folder and run it and everything. You can directly access the folder in VS Code and start working on it. Okay, now see, I have opened the folder. Now I have these files. See, so this is for creating a new file in the folder. This is for creating another folder inside the folder. You can see this is for refreshing. Let's say I have created something but you're unable to see it. Let's say I have created something from outside directly in the folder and you're unable to see it in here. You can refresh it and see the changes. And this is collapse. Just like, let's say, okay, I'll show you how collapse works, don't worry. Let's create a new file first. So I have clicked on the new file window and now I can create something like this. First, let's say I'm creating an HTML page, because I told you, right, if you want to create a web page, the first important file that will create the web page for you is the HTML file. So I'm creating the file and I'm naming it first. And to tell the computer that this is the HTML file, right, I have to give it an extension, just like all the files in the computer have, right? All the files in the computer have an extension, which basically tells the computer what is this file and how to treat it, right? So I'm telling it, okay, fine, you are an HTML file. See, VS Code also gives me this sweet icon, right? Cool. Enter, and now your file is created. See, this collapse is something like this. You can close your folder. See, close, open. So this is that thing, right? That's all. So now this is the file, and this is the place where I can start writing code. But now, before starting, like before, what do you call starting with the code? Is everyone understanding everything that I'm saying till now? Everyone, please tell me. Has everyone understood everything? Just give me a yes so that I can move ahead now. Just give me a yes or anything, just so that I can understand that you have understood everything till now, because now we are starting with the code and we're also going to learn what exactly is DOM manipulation, right? I will tell you today only what is DOM manipulation, but for that you have to understand DOM first. So I'll also tell you that, don't worry. Okay, now let's start with the first language for web development, the most important language, right? HTML, right? So now see, whenever you start writing a language, there is a way or formation of writing a language. There is a way or formation of writing a language, right? Let's say if you're working with a programming or a scripting language, in that you have variables, loops, conditional statements, arrays, structures, right? When you work with a programming language or a scripting language, this is not a programming language, this is not a scripting language. Remember, HTML is not a programming language. So there are a lot of people who say, I know a programming language named HTML. Remember, HTML is not a programming language. The full form says HTML is a markup language, hypertext markup language. Remember, HTML is a markup language. It's not a programming language. That basically says that HTML is not going to have variables, loops, conditions, and everything. HTML is a markup language. That basically means it is going to have markups. It is going to have markups, or a lot of people also call it tags. This is what you call the language in which you're going to write HTML, in markups or tags, right? This is HTML is not a programming language. Remember this, right? HTML is a markup language, okay, which is written in markups or tags. That's why it is known as markup language, right? So markups are also called as tags. Now, before starting it, how a tag looks like. Let's just see how a tag looks like so that we can move ahead. Can everyone see my font size, please? Can everyone see it? Can everyone see it? Please say, can everyone see it? Can everyone see this font, or should I zoom it a bit? Because I think from like a lot of people from you might be using your phone, right? So for some people it might be a little small. Okay, that's great. That's great. And also I'll do one thing. For temporary time, I'll also close this sidebar so that you can see the complete file. See, this is the place where you can open that. And I'll also click on this to close it. So, and I'll also explain you what these things do. Don't worry. I'll also explain you what these things do. So don't worry at all. But for the first thing, this is the folder explorer. The first icon that you can see on the top can close and open the folder explorer. So I'm closing it so that you can see the whole code. Okay, and also zoom it
Sir, can
one
you
more
please
time.
zoom it a little bit?
Yes,
Yeah,
now I
yeah.
zoomed it.
Now,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
cool, cool. Okay, guys, let's move ahead now. So let's see how a tag looks like. Then after that, we'll move to how to start writing HTML, how to start writing markups, and what are the different markups or tags we have in HTML, right? So a tag look like something like this. See, this is how you open a tag, and this is how you close a tag. The same name, only a slash added in the front. This is how you close a tag. So this is how a tag looks like. This is how a tag looks like. I hope you can see it. And in between the opening and closing of the tag, the respective content goes. Whatever the content is, we don't care right now. Not a problem at all. Should I increase a little more? I hope this is fine now. This is like, if I increase it more than this, then I'll I will be unable to see all of this. So I hope this is fine now, everyone. I hope this is fine now. Okay, I have increased a lot now. It's like very big. Okay, cool. So this is how a tag looks like. Now I have like wrote tag, right? But we're gonna not we have a different tags in HTML. This is just for your demo, right? So this is how a tag looks like. This is how you write an opening tag, right? The less than symbol, then tag, then the greater than symbol, then whatever content you have for that particular tag. Don't worry, we'll understand it. And then the same tag, but just a slash front of in the front name. That's all. Like in front of the name. That is all. Okay. So this is the tag. Okay, cool. Has everyone understood this? Has everyone understood this, guys? Now, let's see how a basic HTML document looks like. Let's try to understand how a basic HTML document looks like. Okay, so it looks like this. Everyone focus. First and the most important tag in a HTML document is HTML tag. Okay, and after that, you have a head tag inside the HTML tag, and also you have a body tag inside HTML tag. Inside head, you have a title tag. See, I'm opening the tags. VS Code is closing this for me. That's what code editors do. That's what code editors do. Remember this. Okay. So this is how my basic HTML document looks like. HTML, inside HTML you have head and body, and inside head you have title. I hope you are understanding this. I hope you're understanding this, everyone. Is everyone understanding this? Guys, is everyone understanding this? This is how a HTML, basic HTML document looks like. Okay. Now, let's try to run it. Let's try to run it and try to understand what these tags do, and also try to understand what exactly is DOM. Right. So let's try to see what is the output of this page on the web. So remember, HTML, you have to run your HTML files on the browser. HTML files can only run on the browser because the browser is the only thing that understands HTML. Please remember this. Browser is the only thing that understands HTML, right? That's why you have to run your HTML files on the browser. So this is not see the way you have to compile and run it. You just go on the browser and just say the browser, okay, fine, I want to load this file in you. Now there are a lot of ways to do it. The first way is, see, this is the folder, right? So this will also have the same file because I just created in the VS Code, right? See, this is the file that we created from the VS Code. It's available because it is the same folder that is accessed in the VS Code. Now, what you can do, right click and say open with Google Chrome. Or in Windows, you have open with, right? You can just say open with and select your favorite browser and run it. So this is one thing that we can do. Open with Google Chrome and it will run it, right? Another way of doing it is you can go in VS Code and say right click on the file and copy the path. Just say copy path. Just select copy path and go in your browser, your favorite browser. It can be IE, it can be Mozilla, it can be Chrome. Chrome is my favorite browser. That's why I always go for Chrome. So I select a new tab and paste the path in the bar, just like typing an address, right? The location. This is the address. Enter. And here we go. This is the output of our web page. Okay. Is this cleared, everyone? Is this cleared? Right now, you can only see a blank white page because there was nothing, right? because there was nothing in the body, right? There was nothing in the body. Remember, this white space, this whole white space is the body. Like anything that you see on the white space is basically coming from the body. Remember, everyone? Remember? I hope you sorry, not remember. Understanding this? Are we understanding, everyone? Are we understanding? Or is there any confusion? Please tell me, guys, is there any confusion for this? Are we understanding? Okay, cool. Now that's great. That's really great. Now see, just to show you that, okay, that white space, like anything that you see on the white space comes from the body. Let's write any dummy thing in the body. So let's just say, okay, hello there. Okay, save it. Whenever you make changes in your coding files, always save it. And the shortcut for saving it is Control S. So basically, Control S is basically something that should be in your blood. Whenever you do some changes, you should always save it, because a lot of times you're unable to see changes in your output just because you haven't saved it. That's why always keep Control S with you. Okay, whenever you do any changes, save it with Control S. And now you just have to go on the browser and refresh the page. It will reload the changes. Refresh. And now I hope I'll just zoom the page. You can see the hello there. Okay, I hope you can see the hello there now. Is it cool? Is it understandable, everyone? I hope everyone is understanding this. Yes. Al Hassan, you can also use the live server. I didn't use this because you can see I have zoomed my browser a lot, right? That's why I cannot see the operations at once. But yes, you can go for that. Shortcut for zooming is Control Plus, Ahmed. Shortcut for zooming is Control Plus. And don't worry, people who are thinking of the live server, I'll also show you how to run it with the live server. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. Okay. I just didn't do it because I don't want to like burden all the starter people with everything. I just want to show them very small things first, right? So that they understand the smallest things, and then we can go for the big things after that. Okay. Yes, Al Hassan, we can definitely go. I hope you heard me now. Okay. I hope everyone is cleared now with this. Now, let's try to understand something like how the browser runs or loads your HTML. What the browser does internally, right? So now remember, you have this code in your HTML page, and you said the browser, okay, fine, run it for me. I just like entered the path in the URL bar and said the browser, run it for me, right? What the browser does is it reads your HTML, right? It basically, there is an interpreter inside the browser which reads the HTML code and converts the HTML code into a tree. Converts the HTML code into a tree, and then a browser read that tree and loads the output. Understand this. Internally, there is an interpreter present inside the browser. Fine. So when the browser runs an HTML page, what happens is interpreter reads your code, reads your HTML files code, converts the HTML code into a tree, right? Into a tree, and then browser reads that tree and renders your output, shows your output, right? Remember this thing. I hope you're understanding this. So this is how it goes. This is the process. This is what the browser is internally doing. Interpreter is basically converting your HTML document into a tree, and then browser is reading that tree and generating the output for you. Okay, are we understanding this? Are we understanding this, everyone? Now, if you see this code, how will you make a tree? If you see this code, can we understand how the tree will look like for this code? Can we actually convert this thing into a tree? Can we as a humans can convert this thing into tree? Yes, we can, right? You can see HTML, everything is inside the HTML. That's why I can say HTML is holding everything. That basically says HTML is the parent. HTML is the parent for everything. So if I want to create a tree for this, it will look like First, we have HTML. Like, okay, let's draw it. Let's draw it so that you can easily understand it. Let's draw it. So it will look something like this. Let's open a Jamboard again, and I'll draw it. So I'll just show you what the interpreter or the browser is internally doing with your HTML document. Let's try to understand that. Remember, all your HTML document is converted to a tree, and then browser reads that tree and loads the output for you. Okay, and then let's try to understand how the tree will look like. So the first element that we'll have is the parent. The most important parent will be the HTML. And then after HTML, for HTML, we have two childs, right? We have two childs for HTML. We have head, and then we have body, right? And then inside head, there is one more child for head. That is title, right? This is how my tree looks like. Let's say in future, you also go and add a new tag inside the body. Like let's say there is a h1 tag, and there is actually a h1 tag. Okay, don't worry about it. If you know HTML, you'll understand there is actually an h1 tag that is basically used to show bigger text. Okay, so I'll just write hello there. You'll see the output change. H1 is basically a tag that is used to show big text. Okay, so you'll see it here now. But obviously, I'm not teaching you HTML right now, so don't worry about it. But you can see the output now. The output has changed. Okay, so you can see it now here. But now the most important thing that I want to do here is you can see that now inside body I have h1 that basically says I have one more child in the body, that is h1. So this is how my tree is looking right now. This is how my tree is looking right now. Right, I have HTML. Inside HTML, I have head and body as the two childs. Then head has a child named title, and body has a child named h1. Are we clear with this? So this is the tree. But see, this is not the exact tree, right? This is not the this is not how the actual tree will look like, right? That is the browser who is creating it. But for us, this is how the tree looks like. Okay, so for understanding, I have created this. Just understand this. Internally, the interpreter creates a tree for your HTML document, for your HTML code, and then the browser reads this tree to understand what are all the elements that you have, which element or which tag is inside which tag, and how do I have to generate the output and show it to the user. The browser read this tree, and when your HTML document is converted to a tree, right? These things, this thing can also be called, these things like this can also be called as a tag, right? In the code, they are known as tags. In the tree, they are known as objects or elements, right? In the tree, they are known as objects or elements or nodes. Remember this thing. For your code, they are all tags. But when this is converted to a tree, these become real elements or objects or nodes of a tree. Remember these things. But don't worry about it because this is internally done in the browser. Browser internally converts into tree and shows you the output. But I just wanted to let you know what goes on inside the browser. And this tree structure of the HTML document is known as DOM. The tree structure of the HTML document is known as DOM. This is what I'm telling you when I'm saying DOM, DOM, DOM. DOM stands for Document Object Model. This is what DOM stands for. Document Object Model. Right? This is basically an objectified model of your document, of your HTML document. That's why it is known as Document Object Model. So the tree of your HTML document is known as DOM, Document Object Model. Are we cleared, everyone? Are we clear till now? Have we understood what is a DOM now? Have we understood, everyone? Please give me a cheer. Please give me a yes so that I understand. Have we understood what is a DOM now? The tree structure of your HTML document is known as a DOM. That's simple. That's why I wanted to tell you all of this. Okay, and the full form is Document Object Model. Okay, cool, everyone. Now, we said that JavaScript is also known as a DOM manipulation language. By that, I meant JavaScript is something, JavaScript is a language, or we can use JavaScript to manipulate this tree. Now, when I say to manipulate this tree, that basically means I can add elements in the tree, I can remove elements from the tree, I can change the style of the elements in the tree, right? That is what I meant when I said manipulation, DOM manipulation. I can manipulate this tree using JavaScript. And when I say manipulate, that basically means I can add elements, I can remove elements, I can change elements, right? I can change the style of the element, I can change the content of the element. I can do anything using JavaScript. That's why I called JavaScript as a DOM manipulation language. Okay? Or when I said JavaScript is going to manipulate the content of HTML, this is what I meant, right? So Java, that's why JavaScript is known as DOM manipulation language, because it has the ability which can manipulate the whole, what do you call, the DOM tree. Okay, dynamically. When I say dynamically, that basically means even if you have not written any code in your HTML file at first, JavaScript can add it on the go, right? So let's say, see, this is the document that I have created. See, this is the HTML document, right? This is the HTML document. So the first tree that will be generated will be this. JavaScript has the ability to add a new element in the body, like anywhere, but for now in the body. JavaScript can add a new h1 in the body. Even if I haven't wrote that in this document, in the HTML document, JavaScript can add that h1 in the body, a new h1 in the body, and we can also see it in the output. Right? Even if I have not like wrote that in my HTML document, JavaScript is doing that. I'm not doing it. I have not wrote it statically. JavaScript is dynamically adding that h1 in the tree, in the document, right? And I can see the output, but it is not in the HTML document, right? That's why JavaScript is doing. That's what JavaScript is doing. So it can add elements, it can remove elements, it can change the style of the element, it can change the content of the element. That is what all JavaScript can do, right? That's why we know, we tell that we say that JavaScript is a DOM manipulation language. Okay, I hope everyone is understanding this now, and I hope now it is cleared. And also CSS, as I said, it is going to style the elements, and JavaScript can also manipulate the style. So JavaScript can also manipulate CSS. It can add new styles, it can remove styles, right? So you're going to learn it. You're going to learn it. Don't worry, you're going to learn it. Yeah, we're going to learn it when we start doing it, when we start doing the code. So basically, today I'm not going to write any JavaScript code. Don't worry. From tomorrow, I'm going to start with JavaScript. So you still have one day. If you don't know like about HTML and CSS, you still have one day where you can go on and learn a little bit about HTML and CSS. Believe me, that is very easy. You can just take 2 hours and learn HTML and CSS. So I want everyone here today who are going to watch my sessions like from tomorrow to learn a little bit of HTML and CSS, so that whatever I write in HTML and CSS, basically I'm going to explain you, right? But the main intention of this course is to make you learn JavaScript, right? So that we don't waste any time in HTML and CSS. That's why I want everyone to go on today and also take tomorrow's morning to just learn a little bit of HTML and CSS. And believe me, it's very, very easy, so that you can start understanding like the whole thing that I start writing from tomorrow. Okay. And yes, the timings for this essential JavaScript course will be 5 o'clock, right? So every day it will be 5 to 6:30.
Sir, Saurav Suman was asking, why do we write doc type HTML at the start of the file?
Okay. Yes. Okay. Just one last thing I'm going to tell you. See, so this is an HTML4 document. Now there are different versions of language. Like when we have an update in a particular language, a different version is there, a different version number is there. So till HTML4, this was how we wrote HTML. From HTML5, we also write a doc type HTML at the start. Now this is not going to do anything in output. This just shows the browser that this is an HTML5 document. Please start giving the HTML5 features to this document. That's all. That's all why we wrote doc type HTML. Doc type HTML is not going to do anything in the output. It is not generating anything in the output. It just says that this document is an HTML5 document. That is all. I'm actually, anyways, I'm gonna like, I was going to explain it tomorrow, but that's fine if you asked it, right? Doc type HTML basically says that this is an HTML5 document, okay? And please, browser, provide all the features that an HTML5 document should need, right? That's what this doc type HTML does. It basically says that this is an HTML5 document. That is all, okay? Is everyone cleared? Any more doubts? Umang, any more doubts?
No, sir, no doubt. I just want to inform everyone that everybody, please mark your attendance. It is mandatory for you to mark the attendance for giving the exam. So I request everyone who have not marked the attendance, first fill the Google form, mark the attendance, and also a giveaway awaits you. 3 people will be chosen randomly from all of the people who have filled the attendance form. Will get, 3 students will get randomly giveaways from Let's Upgrade. So I request everyone to fill the attendance form, and every day be at 5 p.m. the session starts. So be here on time. Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys. Okay, guys, then I hope you enjoyed the session. Please let me in the chats, right, if you enjoyed or not. And then I'll see you tomorrow, because from tomorrow, we're going to start coding. And I've also planned a project for you. So basically, I'm going to try to show you everything, or mainly the superpowers of JavaScript. So you're going to learn a lot of JavaScript in the next 6 to 7 days. So don't miss any lecture. I will personally suggest you to attend everything, so that you can take everything from me and learn everything that I'm going to teach. Because I have planned a lot of things in JavaScript, right? I have planned a project also. I'll show you how to create a simple, like few simple tricks, a few simple things that wow you, right? In using JavaScript. So I'll basically tell you to attend everything. Okay. So I hope you enjoyed everything, and we'll see you tomorrow exactly at 5, and we'll start coding from tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, so everyone, now we are coming to the conclusion of the session. So the major things I want to cover at the end of the session is, first of all, what all things have we learned today. Thank you, Saurabh sir, for giving such an amazing lecture and such an amazing journey of a beginner for learning these kind of, and what all things go at the backside. Today we learned about the tree structure of HTML, that is DOM, document object manipulation, which tells us how
Uh,
the objects. Yes, sir.
Umang, it's document object model.
Yes, sir. Document object model. Yeah, that's what I said, I guess. So, if I think the voice. Okay, so we learned about HTML. What is HTML, CSS? What is JavaScript? Basically, what are client side and server side scripting languages? And tomorrow we will be back at the same time, and I would like everybody to fill their attendance form, and as sir said, try to learn basics of HTML, CSS, so that we can go on with the JavaScript tomorrow. And yeah, so, and do visit our community website, it and groups of JavaScript and web development essentials, so that you can clear all the doubts if you're having till tomorrow. Don't wait for anything, just spam the chat or spam the group there, and post all your things, all your doubts there. We'll get back to you with all your doubts. And do visit our community page and register for the course as well, and do fill your attendance for the giving the exam. Thank you, Saurabh sir, for
Thank you so
amazing.
much, Umang.
Yeah, that's all from my side, guys. Okay, so it will start every day at 5 o'clock. Please be clear about it. At 5 p.m., we all will be here for your JavaScript Essential batch. Thank you.
Okay,
Any
guys.
more
Bye
doubts
bye.
if anybody is having? You can just ask it in the chat. Uh, the course duration for this batch is, you can also check our schedule, the links, and check the description. We will have 15 hours of study, Mr. Google Boy. Uh, Total 15 hours, including the assignments. Is anyone having any more doubts? Sir,
Okay.
should.
Swapna is asking what is the difference between HTML
Yeah.
and HTML5. Swapna is just like, see, there are like, when you have an app, right? You have some app, right, in your phone, and let's say if the developer adds some new features in that, then basically he launches a new version of what you call that particular app, right? Exactly same like that. In the previous HTML, we had a lot of tags in which we were creating a lot of things. But let's say the developer of HTML added few more tags that are doing few more things, and that's why we had HTML5. So basically, if I want to tell you what are the new things we have HTML in HTML5 is, we have video tags, we have audio tags, we also have a few more attributes added like email and everything that I'm going to show you in the future lectures. So HTML5 is just like a new version of HTML in which you have few new tags. That's all.
So everyone, it is now. I want to Tanuja Prasad. You will find all the notes and the summary of this session within 2 hours of this session when this session ends on our community group. So please join the groups, and all the links are given in the description. Please check those links. And yeah, this course. Al Hassan today, this course is totally free of course, and you can also look for our advanced courses in the websites. So yeah. So thank you so much everyone for attending this lecture. Hope to see you tomorrow with all the energy. And yeah, that's all from my side. I want you all to give a loud cheer for Saurabh sir for giving such an amazing lecture. Yeah, 3-star TV, the certificate is free. Just you have to give the exam for that. You'll have your certifications. Yeah, we will provide certificates. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, Tekane, this will be a beginner friendly course, this thing, and we are also going to learn a little bit of advanced JavaScript. So don't worry. So in the next maybe 6 or 7 days, I'm also going to show you the beginner level JavaScript and also the a little bit of advanced level JavaScript. But after that, we also have the advanced courses in which I'm going to like show you all the things that you can do with JavaScript, like literally everything that you can do with JavaScript. Okay. So don't worry about it. But in this course also, I'm going to show you a lot of things that you can do with JavaScript that you may or may not have like seen, right? So yep, we have a lot of things planned for you, definitely.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Umang. Now we can, I guess, conclude the session.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Bye bye,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye, everyone. Hope you have a great day.